Look, I'm very disappointed because Vladimir and I had a very good relationship, probably still do. I don't know why he continues with this war. This war has been so bad for him. He's going into 4 years of a war that he should have won that war in 1 week. He's now going to soon be into his 4th year. He's lost 1.5 million soldiers, probably, close. Certainly in terms of wounded and no legs and no arms and all the things that happen in horrible wars. It's a horrible war. He's got to really settle this war. And you know, they have long lines waiting for gasoline in Russia right now, right? They have long lines. Who thought that was going to happen? And all of a sudden his economy is going to collapse. And I'd like to see him do well. I mean, I had a very good relationship with Vladimir Putin, but he just doesn't want to end that war. And I think it's making him look very bad. He could end it. He could end it quickly. And I have to tell you, I give credit because who would think that Ukraine could have fought Russia for 4 years to essentially a standstill? Now, there has been some early, you know, before they knew what the hell was happening, because it happened quick. Biden should have never let that happen. That's a war that should have never happened, but it did. But it's not making Russia look good, I will tell you that.
Really? Tomahawks in Ukraine?
We'll be talking about Ukraine, yeah. I mean, I have the president coming in on Friday, and I know what he has to say. He wants weapons. He would like to have tomahawks. Everyone else wants tomahawks. And we have a lot of tomahawks. Tomahawk is do you need any tomahawks in Argentina?
Those players, and particularly Erdogan, they also help in the war between Russia and Ukraine.
Yeah, Erdogan can. He's respected by Russia. Ukraine I can't tell you about, but he is respected by Putin. And he's a friend of mine, you know, you can see. Why I get along with the tough ones. I don't get along with the weak ones. I get along with the tough ones. I don't know what that is, but Erdogan's been great with me. You know, when NATO has a problem with Erdogan, which they often do, they call me to talk to them. And I've never failed in working it out like immediately. Is that right? Weapons they need, what kind of weapons? They need Patriots very badly. They'd like to have tomahawks. That's a step up. They'd like to have tomahawks. We talked about that. And so we'll see. Well, I don't know. I might have to speak to Russia, to be honest with you, about tomahawks. Do they want to have tomahawks going in their direction? I don't think so. I think I might speak to Russia about that, in all fairness. I told that to President Zelensky, because tomahawks are a new step of aggression. Right? You understand that very well.
Are you saying that you will speak to Putin first about tomahawks?
I might talk to him. I might say, look, if this war's not going to get settled, I'm going to send him tomahawks. I may say that. The tomahawk is an incredible weapon, very offensive weapon. And honestly, Russia does not need that. They don't need that. Yeah, I might tell them that if the war is not settled, that we may very well do it. We may not, but we may do it. I think it's appropriate to bring up. Yeah, I want to see the war settled. Thank you very much.
It would be a game changer. It would significantly enhance the range that the Ukrainians can strike.
So I think that, you know, for the better part of the Trump administration, the president has leaned towards Russia, right? And if you saw the treatment of President Putin at the Anchorage summit, rolling out the red carpet, giving him, such nice treatment, during that summit, it would seem to indicate that he favored Russia. It seems, though, that he's become increasingly frustrated with how President Putin, has dealt with him over these couple of weeks, especially since Anchorage. Over the course of that time, we've seen Russian strikes into Ukraine that have targeted the capital itself, have hit government buildings, and has also hit the European Union's buildings inside of Kyiv. So, you're looking at upwards of 100 civilian casualties since Anchorage. And I think President Trump has made clear that he's frustrated with Putin. And, perhaps this indication that they're willing to provide Tomahawk missiles, shows that the frustration has reached a boiling point and they're ready to, balance out, the U.S. approach to the conflict and provide Ukraine with these weapons.
President Trump made this rhetorical U-turn on Ukraine, suggesting that Ukraine could win the war and that Russia was just a paper tiger. To me, like the Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk put it, I thought that this was a reflection of the president's desire to shift the responsibility for the war's outcome onto the Europeans rather than an announcement that would herald a new era in terms of the US-Ukraine policy. And if the US were indeed to supply Ukraine with Tomahawk missiles, whether or not mediated through and financed by Europeans, that would be a new development, and I think that would be a major shift in policy. What we've heard from the vice president, though, is that it's something that the United States is contemplating, and I think we'll have to see for the decision when it's being made. And the president in the past, when he wanted to take action, he was able to take action very quickly. When he wanted to just kick the can down the road, he was able to do that as well. So I think we'll know soon enough which one of the two it is. This war has to end in a defeat for Russia. Otherwise, it will just carry in itself a promise of further conflict. I mean, unless this war can end, obviously, by Russia's conquering Ukraine, dismembering it or turning it into a failed state. I think that would be a highly undesirable outcome from the perspective of European security, and would also, I think, invite Putin to test our resolve further, as he's already doing over the territories of various NATO member states, whether it's Poland, whether it's Estonia, whether it's Romania. And so I think we are in a very dangerous moment, and we can get out of that moment only by convincing the Russians that this is not the way you behave and how you settle your historical traumas.
They hate each other so much they almost can't talk. They're incapable of talking to each other. Thank you.
It has to end with a negotiated settlement. And the Trump administration, they deserve credit for pushing towards a negotiated settlement, but it's how we get there that really matters. And the fact that Ukraine hasn't been involved in a lot of these discussions. They weren't included in the Anchorage discussions. It has raised a lot of concerns amongst folks that the Trump administration might be willing to, agree with Putin's, stances around formally gaining more territory within Ukraine. One of the demands from the Russians has been that Ukraine has to change its constitution, with respect to territorial integrity. So it has a very long list of demands that the Ukrainians themselves could never go for. So it's hard to see at this point where the Venn diagram of what Russia wants and what Ukraine wants, where it meets.